Constantine episode 3, The Devil's Vinyl. Love the episode. I thought it was really cool. We got to see some really interesting moments with Constantine in this episode. We got to see a very minor little magical device, the little card that was enchanted. I thought that was a pretty cool moment because we sort of got the history where Constantine was like, it's got a very bloody past, but to get the gist of it, it just becomes whatever I need it to be or whatever the user needs it to be. And I thought that was cool. Like they kind of wrote in like a sort of glancing history lesson on this one random magical device he had. And we also got a little one with the sort of tracking nails, which I thought was cool. So it's nice to have those little moments where it doesn't exactly focus on like, oh, it's this big spell or it's this amazing device. It's just like I used it and this is kind of what it does, and we're just moving on because I've used it a million times and I don't feel like wasting my time telling you. So I enjoyed that. And also in the beginning when he was like covered in blood and in like a circle of salt, we don't really learn at all what that was, but he's learning some new spell. So I kind of like that about the show where they have all these different little spells, and sometimes we get explanations, sometimes we don't. We got a little bit of a tease with the actual mansion itself, or I guess the area that they're located in, however you want to define it. There was the one area where they open the door and it's just a super long tunnel, and Constantine shuts the door and says like, I'm not even ready for that. So it's almost like a maze full of just crazy magical things. So I thought that was cool. They might explore that sometime in season 2 if we get a season 2. I hope we do. I'm honestly, I'm kind of enjoying this show and I really love this episode. It was cool. We got to see pretty much every single character. We got Constantine, we got Zed, we got Chaz. Um, we got to see like a new character, Papa Midnight. I liked him. I think the way they did his character, he was trying to get this device. He was trying to get the record, and unfortunately, he failed at the end. But he kind of became a rival of Constantine in this episode. Like, I wanted this device because I wanted to be more powerful than I already am, because that's kind of what demons do. And by the end, he makes that voodoo doll of Constantine. Like, this guy screwed me over with this one thing I've been looking for probably for decades, I would have to assume, because it's been hidden for so long. And I need to take this guy out. I have to get revenge on him. And I thought that was pretty cool. We have a rival who, in season 1, is like the established enemy who's going to be there all the time. He might not be in the foreground all the time, but he'll be there throughout the season. So it was cool to have that establishing moment. This is going to be like the, I guess I can't say it's the first part because technically the first episode they introduced some stuff that would be overarching, like the fact that Constantine got the little girl down to hell along with his soul. So that's one part of the overarching story, but this introduced like the villain side of things where that's just him trying to right his wrongs, and this is just a villain coming after him over and over again, as well as the rest of the team. So I enjoyed that. I like this character. The little bit we got to see him, he's just pretty much a guy in a crazy. It looked like it was just a snakeskin suit. That's kind of what it looked like at the end of the episode when he had the gun. But he came in like Constantine was kind of getting screwed over, like his earbuds that fell out, and he just comes in with the earplugs and he's just like boom boom. All right, I'm about to take this record, and the only reason he lost is because Constantine basically um, revamped the dark magic, or like called up the dark magic that the record originally had and sent it back to hell, which I thought was pretty cool. And I just like the way they played that, and I'm hoping to see more Papa Midnight and what other magical devices, as Constantine put it, what other magical devices this guy really has and how powerful he really is, because he had guys in this episode who unfortunately weren't too smart. Like, he was working, I have to assume those guys were human. They couldn't have just been demons because they got taken over by the record, and I would think that other demons like Papa Midnight wouldn't be affected by that. Like, and just like the guy who wrote the contract in this episode to basically take out the woman, I have to assume that they wouldn't be affected, but he hired humans, so he doesn't exactly have like a big army who follows behind him or anything, but he's trying to build up his own, little army himself and get as many magical devices as he can to become more powerful. So I like that little introduction. If I'm correct about it, I could easily be wrong because this is the first time I've ever seen him. But I did like his character. We got to see like he's a powerful character, but he doesn't have a ton of resources. So sometimes, just like in this episode, when his henchmen sort of screw up, he has to go in just like Constantine does. He's not just all powerful. Like, hey, you guys go do this, and I'm just gonna sit here and watch TV and relax. Sometimes he's gonna have to get his hands dirty, and I kind of like that with villains, where it's like they want to be that all powerful villain where they don't ever have to do anything, but they aren't at that point yet. So that's what we're gonna get to see with this guy, and he's gonna be going up against Constantine, who kind of screwed him over in this really big deal that he was gonna end up having, where he was gonna get the record. But I love the episode. I thought it was really cool. The main point of it with the record actually being the device that was killing people, and it was like the voice of the devil basically in the record, and it was taking people's souls. And the whole story about that I thought was pretty cool. And like I said, we got to see all the characters. We got to see Zeb do sign language, which was pretty cool. And she's, as Chaz put it, she's proving herself to be pretty useful. And I love the scene. Like, the whole scene when they were at the club was probably one of my favorite parts, because she helped them out because, of course, neither of them knew sign language. And I love the fact that she was like, no, you're just arrogant and stuff. I enjoyed that. And the part when, after she saw the white tiger, and she was like, come on. And Constantine was like, just because she said something, like, it doesn't mean we have to jump. And he just stood there like, I'm holding my ground for like 3 seconds, and like, all right, now we can go. Like, we don't have to just, jump at her heels. So I thought that was a really funny scene. Like, she's clearly the one who has the answers, and she knows what to do. And they all knew, like, okay, well, she saw the white tiger. Chaz saw the poster. It's like, that's where we're going. And she was just the first person to say, all right, let's get out of here. And Constantine still stood there for like 3 seconds, just to have like his little moment, like, oh, I still have my own little bit of power. So I love that scene. I thought it was pretty funny. The ending of the episode, when we got to see Zeb with like the little necklace, I thought that was pretty interesting. I feel like that has to be an introduction to something that they're gonna talk about in some future episodes, with either her past or maybe a deal that she made. Who knows? It's something that, like, something that belongs to someone in her family, but for some reason her powers don't work on it, or something like that. So hopefully we'll get some answers as to what it is. It's like, it looked really cool too. It was like a cross, but the bottom looked like a sword. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. I like just the simple sort of gray design with the little blue gems in it, I guess, or jewels, or whatever they're actually called. I wouldn't know, or stones, I guess. But overall, I thought this was a really good episode. We got to see everyone. The angel once again comes around and just kind of screws with Constantine, and he can't exactly help him out because he has orders. But I thought it was a good episode. I really enjoyed it. The introduction of Papa Midnight was pretty cool. I don't know. I have to assume he's from the comics, because they made like a really big deal in the preview for this episode. Like, it's Papa Midnight and stuff. So I'm sure fans of the comic book really appreciated the fact that he was introduced so early. Like I said, I don't know the character. I don't know really the Hellblazer comic books, which is what Constantine is from. But I liked his introduction. I thought he was a cool character. And, pretty much every point I made, he wants to be that really high-ranking enemy, but he's just not there yet. So he has to hire, like, stupid humans who can just get, taken over by the demonic objects that they touch. So I enjoy that type of character where he has to build as a villain, just like Constantine has to build as a hero, because Constantine is sort of on off with being a hero, and they're kind of at the same level right now. So I'm enjoying that sort of introduction to what is hopefully going to be like one of the big things for this season. But I love the episode. Comment below, let me know what you guys thought about it, your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and of course, what do you guys think about Papa Midnight? Did you like his introduction? Did you not like his introduction? If you read the comics, do you think that they really did his character justice? Even if it's the first episode, that it's, you can really screw up a character in one moment. So if you read the comics, or even if you didn't, what did you guys think about his introduction? Comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.